Wait. Is that Lex? It's Astrostetics. Let's get it, baby. Make sure y'all pick up a copy of Astrostetics right now, because we're about to go all the way in on this Kendrick Lamar and Drake situation. The Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef hip-hop showdown of the decade. We about to get into the astrological breakdown of the decade, baby. Alright, so let's do this. So y'all, Kendrick Lamar and Drake, the two biggest stars in the hip-hop world, they went at it several months ago. We not even sure if the beef is still done, but make sure y'all pick up a copy of Astrostetics, because we about to go all the way in on this from an astrological perspective. Now, Kendrick Lamar and Drake, amazing performers, great accolades, and they both have some amazing aspects in their chart. Now, before we get into Kendrick and Drake, let's take a look at Kendrick Lamar and Drake. They both have a stellium. Drake has a stellium as well. Kendrick Lamar has a stellium. Now, Kendrick Lamar, we don't have what exact time he was born, but we're still gonna finesse this because that's what we do in Astrostetics. Because Kendrick Lamar has a stellium that spans from Gemini to Cancer, and he was born during a half moon, and Kendrick Lamar was also born on a Pisces moon, like his old school Gemini pal Kanye West. Now notice this. Drake has issues with Kendrick and Kanye, and they're both Pisces moons, right? Gemini sun. Now luckily, Kendrick Lamar has Venus in his own sign, and we'll explain the significance of this later. Now in terms of his solar chart, we can see that Kendrick Lamar, Venus is behind his sun. And this is one of the best places to have Venus. In Astrostetics, this is a quick fun fact, we always want Venus behind our sun, and that's like the best place for it to be, because Venus can feel the warmth and it can benefit from the sun, but it doesn't have to emit and burn out its own energy. So Venus likes to benefit from the heat, but not being in the way, essentially, right? And we mentioned in our previous videos that Kendrick Lamar, he can excite the atmosphere. This is something that Geminis, air signs, Libras, Aquarius, they have that energy of exciting the atmosphere. But Geminis, at times, they'll get the thought first sometimes, right? Now, in Astrostetics, we don't really rely on a lot of the outer planets, but you're going to hear other astrologers mention aspects of Astrostetics, and that's why I want all of y'all to get the book. Because in Astrostetics, we say that we pay attention to the main 8 planets: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, the Sun, and the Moon, and in collaboration with those, the North Node and the South Node, right? And everything else is kind of just like extra fluff, but we do have some caveats in there, okay? But for Kendrick, his Mercury is important too because it's conjunct Mars. And this explains why Kendrick be writing smoke and giving everybody smoke. And Mars is in the Leo aspect of Cancer for Kendrick. So Kendrick, yeah, he's a competitive writer. And we mentioned that when he writes, when he speaks, he can excite the atmosphere. Geminis for sure can do that, but when Mars is conjunct Mercury, Mars, the red planet, one of the hot bodies. Look, Kendrick said, Drake, that Meek Mill beef might have gassed you up, but I'm a whole nother beast, I really F you up. Then he said, they not like, cut, they not like, Look, that Mercury and Mars conjunction, he wasn't playing about that. Because Mercury can also represent how we experience sound, while Venus is the type of sound we sensationalize. Okay, there's a quick difference between the two. Now, Kendrick Lamar, he also got to have a little admiration for technology somewhere in there. And he has a different case of Venus and Gemini. People might think that these people are socially mixy and chatty patties, but now, the Geminis, we show you in Astrostetics, this is the sign of intellect and the sign of intelligence. And this is where we begin to get a mindset of our personal community. Now, Astrostetics, Gemini shows us where we begin to engage the social experience, but we aren't necessarily in it yet. Now, Gemini, once again, this gets the conversation going. This is the prime conversation starter. But Kendrick Lamar, he be chilling behind the scenes, but he's also very mentally active. This is what we would call the Pisces moon here. And Astrostetics, right? We know that the moon might be a bit closer to the earth, and these things affect the potency of the moon in any chart, right? Where it is in relationship to the sun. And Kendrick Lamar, his moon is in Pisces, and it is trining with his Mars and Mercury. And this points to older guardians having a strong influence in his chart. So it can be aunts and uncles on both sides, on his mom's side and his dad's side, that played a guardianship role in his early upbringing. And by the way, some of the charts that you may see online, they might even be a little bit incorrect. So we didn't rectify this thing all the way. But this is why in Astrostetics, proper mathematical delineation conquers all forms of skepticism. Now for Kendrick's chart, we could see that the guardians around him, definitely the elders, especially maybe on his mother's side, could have had a strong influence on him. And Drake also has similar aspects like that in his chart as well. And we can see from Kendrick's chart that he's extremely intelligent, highly energetically aware as well, right? Kendrick said, I can feel your energy from 2 planets. So, hey, look, the Pisces moon, they dead ass probably can, okay? Make sure y'all get Astrostetics. Now, Kendrick Lamar, he might not be as controversial, but you can still see that he has that musical finesse. And he still has a taste for otherworldly sounds and harmonies. And this is why Pisces moons, they're just like their Venus and Pisces counterparts. They're artistically inclined. They make great musicians and theater majors, and they have a great ear for music and sounds. It's also great too for negotiation. Kendrick Lamar has aspects in his chart that points to him being the first in his immediate circle to do something in the business atmosphere. So we could see even from Kendrick Lamar's Jupiter that he has great leadership skills. His Jupiter is in Aries. And this, in collaboration with his chart, it points that his mom could be very well known and also very intelligent and socially aware as well. You can also see from his chart that he'll get money with his family as well. Like, he kind of only likes getting money and currency with family or people that's in his immediate vibration, right? So that's a bit on Kendrick Lamar's chart. And shout out K-Dot. Now Drake, look, and yo, Drake, I broke down Drake in my first book a bit, and then we broke him down in Astrostetics, right? So we know that Drake has a Cancer moon, and Cancer moons, they do great in farming, anything dealing with even nursing, and these people, they're loved by their hometowns. Essentially, these people are like hometown heroes. They love dealing with politics, agriculture, farming. They make great ambassadors and representatives. And look at even Drake calling himself the sixth god, okay? And of course, all artists represent their hometowns or their hometown heroes to some extent. But this also points that Drake, he has another aspect which connects his moon to his Jupiter. And this is what makes this Drake's Jupiter makes him a monster, because his Jupiter is in Pisces. These people can do great in movies, right? Cinematography. We know Drake is an actor. These people do great in bringing their imagination to life, and they can also be into jewelry and even technology as well. But not like Gemini though, right? But Jupiter and Pisces is very dynamic. They do great in the travel industry, and as a result of their occupation, they can travel. Now, in ancient astrology, Astrostetics taps in with this. Jupiter can also rule international commerce, and in most cases, we call Jupiter the expansion particle in Astrostetics. But Jupiter and Pisces, these people make great merchants, right? So these people can pull from an array of musical, cultural influences. Astrostetics shows us that Jupiter absolutely loves cultural expansion and ancestral expansion. In conjunction with Venus, Jupiter can also be music as well. And this cosmic influence grants Drake a kind of musical sonic passport to experiment. And Sagittarius, also have this ability as well, but they'll more so be ambiguous in business, right? But Drake's Jupiter in Pisces is in its point of nativity, and these people can be very culturally fluid, and these people are very well versed and culturally aware because they're usually very traveled. All right, so this is also why Jupiter can rule Pisces, as well as with Pisces representing aspects of gas, okay? And Jupiter is a gas giant. Drake also has a few retrogrades in his chart, and we call retrogrades illusionary setbacks, meaning that they don't really exist, and this is not really the planet literally moving backwards, but from our perspective on Earth, it appears that way. I think Drake might have Jupiter retrograde, but Drake, in his chart, his moon and Jupiter synergy, it shows that his mom can also be foreign and native to his land, and that he may have lived with his mom, and his father could have been stringent to his responsibilities, right? And even with Drake having a Cancer moon, we know Cancer moons, they only love their beds and their mommies. But this gives us solid insight on Drake's cultural diversity. And look, even Tupac, Drake and Tupac both have Mars in Aquarius. And in another video, we'll go all the way into that. But what about that tailor-made freestyle where Drake literally rapped as Tupac and they both have Mars in Aquarius? I really need y'all to think about that. And I heard Noble and Pooh mention that years ago. But when you hear that tailor-made freestyle, it's crazy, right? Now, Drake also has a Scorpio stellium. And in Astrostetics, we look at Scorpio as the sign of other people's stuff. And we hear everybody always on Drake's side because he's either taking someone's sound, taking someone's style, their hair, their swag, their cadence. Yo, Scorpios, people always be on y'all side. Right? Scorpios, they say y'all even take people publishing, maybe they taxes too. But look, in Astrostetics shows us that Scorpio can deal with other people's values. And Gemini can also represent that as well, because both of these signs govern fusion, where Gemini is fusion in the mental world and Scorpio is fusion in the energetic world. And Astrostetics shows us how with Scorpio, this deals with exchanging with feelings and the emotions of others, right? And the difference is pivotal. So this goes into why Gemini and Scorpio, they're very similar, but mentally and energetically, they're different, right? Now, Drake, his Saturn shows that his father is also musically inclined and well-traveled as well. Drake's moon in conjunction with that, it shows that he would make a great ambassador. And in sidereal astrology, he would be a Gemini moon, and usually Gemini moons, their moms speak well. And I think I saw that Drake's mom is an English teacher, but in tropical astrology, Drake is a Cancer moon, and these people deal great in nursing, taxes, farming, agriculture. Like, these people are very well studied, and they're also studied in ancestral matters as well. Like, Cancer literally ruled the family and ancestors. Astrostetics shows us that. So I find it interesting that Drake don't talk about these things, because a lot of Cancer moons, they love culture, and Drake's Jupiter in Pisces in relationship to his moon grants him some excellent music ability, and it shows that he also enjoys cultural diversity as well, right? So we could tell a lot about a natal chart, and when we really get into it with the Astrostetics, we can really break this down to a deeper level, right? So make sure y'all pick up the book and make sure y'all subscribe, right? And looking in Drake's chart, we could see some pioneering abroad through diversity and his foreign approach, and success in foreign lands, right? And his Saturn in Sagittarius, it shows concentration and focus on cultural matters. So we could see Drake, right? He loved cultural iconography, right? From foreign lands. And this also goes into Scorpio's values, dealing with other people's energy, right? Scorpios, they love getting inspired by others. Now, Drake has Venus in Scorpio, Jay-Z has Venus in Scorpio, and this builds on how you relate. Now, we understand Jay-Z and Drake, they have a synastry with how with their business vibe, right? Used to want to be Hove, and then I turned into Hove. Remember we mentioned that. Now we get a solid vibe for Drake and Kendrick Lamar as individuals, but now let's take a little deeper look and explore them as a dynamic relationship with them together, right? Now Drake and Kendrick Lamar, they about 250 days apart, and this indicates that they are of the same generation. Now immediately the inferior planets, Mercury and Mars in particular, they're close to Drake's moon. So the moon is the planet of our emotions in tandem with the IC. This was the emotional world and family. And Drake, having a Cancer moon, would have a song called Family Matters. Kendrick Lamar would speak on Drake's family, and this would activate Kendrick's Mercury and Mars being conjunct Drake's moon. Now y'all, make sure y'all pick up Astrostetics. Now what this does astrologically, this shows that they can get on each other's nerves, right? And now in the case of Drake, he doesn't really like switch up what he talks about in terms of his writing, but he may do that sonically, while Kendrick Lamar may use other perspectives and other identities and convey his message. So this shows that Drake may play mood games and Kendrick Lamar may play mind games. And this shows you the distinction between the mental facet of Gemini and the psychological facet of Scorpio. Now this battle also shows off their Jupiter aspects here, that this would be a necessary battle for the growth of both of these people. This is the other side of Jupiter that no one really talks about. The messy side, where Jupiter may expand absolutely anything. Jupiter can expand aspects of madness and even melancholy as well, right? Jupiter is the ultimate expander, and Jupiter can also cause international excitement. Remember, Kendrick Lamar, Jupiter and Aries, and we said in the beginning that air signs can create massive excitement with fire signs. And Drake does have fire in a dominant part of the chart, and notice that both of them have Saturn in Sagittarius, and this indicates that they're a part of the same generation. And the Sagittarius, this is about foreign. So in these guys, they may be alike in a lot of their ways, but in terms of personality, public matters, creative matters, subject matter, and their overall approach into how they perceive society, that's what they don't like about each other. We hear Drake calling Kendrick fake woke, Kendrick telling Drake he pacified people and Kendrick electrified him. We could keep going on and on with this, but with this Kendrick Lamar and Drake thing, astrology is going to show us exactly what was going on. But in our previous videos, we mentioned that the eclipse would activate the cardinal signs, the Virgos and the Scorpios will be impacted the most. We mentioned that Scorpios have a strong vibe for rectifying their day-to-day, and this emphasizes regulation of their routine and their health. And we mentioned that the eclipse will create massive shifts in the network for the Geminis, and that total solar eclipse affected Gemini and the humanity and the collective. And this is another reason Kendrick Lamar went crazy, because he had a network, a cultural network, right? Multiple networks that was willing to support that. Okay? And if you look at before the eclipse, Kendrick Lamar, Future, all of that started boiling up right around eclipse season. And that eclipse was called the Great American Eclipse. And right in our next video, we're going to break down the dichotomy of this with Biden and Trump. And it's the same thing. Gemini, Scorpio. Biden is a Scorpio and Trump is a Gemini. But now you see that we're dealing with Gemini and Scorpio energy. But Jupiter, before it went into Gemini, it picked up power as it conjunct Venus. So this also shows us that this year is going to be a massive whirlwind media year, and we also have the election coming up this year, right? So we're living in a great time if we look at what's going on astrologically. But how this will relate is it's going to be a lot to talk about. And once again, this is a leap year, this is an election year, right? Kendrick Lamar and Drake, hopefully that scenario is finished. Hopefully we just get some fire albums and we get great music as we continue to get. But y'all see that astrologically, all of this stuff was right on par. Okay? Right on par. And look, we broke down Drake in this book, okay? Like, I didn't tell the readers that I was breaking down what Drake had going on, but like, it's literally in this book that Drake would have situations like this, and even Donald Trump. We're gonna go in on Donald Trump and Biden next, but y'all literally see Gemini, Scorpio. The only difference really is that Biden is a late degree Scorpio and Drake is an early Scorpio. Biden is closer to Sagittarius and Drake is closer to Libra. But we're still dealing with Gemini, Scorpio, Scorpio, Gemini. And we're still dealing with Canstar, Sagittarius, right? Sagittarius, Canstar. Like, it's all of the same energies at play. So make sure y'all like, share, comment, and subscribe. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. And we got a next video coming up that I know y'all gonna love. So make sure y'all stay tuned for that. And any questions that y'all have, put it in the comment, put it in the chat below. And make sure y'all pull up to the next video. Alright? Hope y'all enjoyed this one. Yeah.